welcome back. Glad to see all of you again. In times of uncertainty, there's a right time, or is there a right time, or is there a wrong time to start a new venture? Today, on the 11th hour breakthrough conversations, Izam and I would like to find ourselves drilling further into the crux of what business and entrepreneurship is ought to be conscious about when we look at starting something in the time of crisis. A downturn can potentially help you capitalize on a weaker economy and take advantage of opportunities, niches that were never present when times are good. But like any investment, there are good opportunities and there are some which are just plain lousy. Are you cut out to start a new venture? Do you have the resources and the courage to see it through? Are you prepared to handle the setbacks? Hi, I'm Terence. I'm an international business coach, a trainer, and I lead business throughout Southeast Asia and work with an organization called Money and You to uplift business consciousness. Today, with me is Mr. Izam Yusof, a former CEO, now turned business strategist, with more than 30 years of experience working with numerous entities to transform their businesses. Welcome to the 11th hour Money and You Breakthrough Conversations. So if you have any questions for us later, please key in below and click like and ask your questions. We'll answer your questions if possible in the Facebook page. So Izam, what's your take on today's topic? Is it safe to even think of starting a new venture where there's so much uncertainty? People are being fired. People don't know what their future about. Out there with people losing their job, tightening economy, and the direct hit on cash flows. What's your take on it?
It's an open-ended question, Terence. It's what I can say is do your due diligence and do your homework. I'm sure you have certain knowledge, you have a certain skills, and with the right attitude, you would know what business you want to venture into, and don't do the herd mentality. Just got to do a bit more homework to see whether what's good for you moving forward. So that's the basic crux of it at the beginning of this conversation. What do you think, Terence, on your side?
No, the, in any time is a good time to start business. Okay,
Mm.
there are things that is like in any crisis there's opportunities. Definitely, there are opportunities that big business could not what they call benefit from, and only some entrepreneurs that could see that opportunities. Like for this time round, it's the mask business. Those that got onto the mask early, saw what happened in China, imported the mask over. Those got the first moves advantage, got the deal. These are just a few, or the sanitizers, those that buy bulk sanitizers. Those are the few that got the really big deal, or those that moves into delivery before anyone does. Those that really got into a lot of stuff. These are the few people that I know that really benefited from this economy. So when you talk about you said like you need to do due diligence and homework. What are the due diligence and homework that one should do?
Well, I think at the beginning, possibly look at your whole supply chain and upstream and downstream, and look at your competitors or your complementing business. So the most important thing also
So
look
when you
into
talk about
where you want to head forward. So from there, these are the kind of homework and due diligence to start doing to see where would the market heading in the next 2 to 5 years or the next 2 to 3 years, and is it similar to your business? Do you want to go into acquisition mode or you want to start a new business? So this is the basic beginning of the thinking process before you go into slightly more detail in terms of what kind of funds do you have and what kind of team do you require in terms of taking the next step. So that will be some initial thinking and thought about it, Terence.
got it. And then when you say you look into supply chain, can you give a bit more example? Because like for me, then
Start
I say,
a new
okay,
business.
I don't
So
know where to look at in supply chain. So if you can give an example of like a business and what does the supply chain look like and what should I look at the supply chain, that would really help me.
okay, just example, let's say a food business.
Okay.
We're talking about, say, dairy related. You have the farm and you have the production or producing the milk, and then also maybe the end product of cheese, for example, and you have the market. So when you look at end to end, in terms of this market, people possibly want to eat more healthy food, for example. So
Passion
in,
or
in that instance,
producing
you might want to be in acquisition mode into expanding from the upstream, the supply side, whether you want to work with the farmers and extend it when the demand is high,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to work into the distribution side where you have more marketing arm in terms of wanting to expand the market, or you want to have variety of the product, you start acquiring your competitor or some complementing business like transportation in that sense. So this is the whole dynamics of the supply chain when you look at it. And even you want to go into technology, you look into how can you produce better results in your production. That's possibly you want to do some investment into acquiring certain technology company, or you want to
Mm-hmm.
start a technology business to support your business.
Oh, there's a lot to look at. So it depends whether I'm good in the area of marketing or whether I'm good in producing or whether I'm good in logistics. Then I look for what's good that's available. Is that what you're saying?
Well, for the viewer or the listener, you can write down what you think in your business. So there's always the production side is one end, and there's a demand side or the marketing side. So which one you want to focus? Just type it in. What's your preference? Where when you start wanting to do your investment in the business, do you look more into production related or into sales related, the demand side? So if you can punch in some details and look, what are your thoughts in terms of this? Of course, we can give you the whole thing, but looking at it immediately, everything in one go will be a mouthful. So what do you think in your business? So currently with the business that you're operating, on the hindsight, if you want to expand, you want to go into broader your income base, what would you do? Would it be within similar business, complementing business, competing business, or totally new business? So this is a thing that
Mhm.
possibly some thoughts that you can punch in, and what do you think about it? So this is a stimulation of mind in terms of this is the time when you have to start. It's good to start thinking how you want to expand your business, whether it's new business or current business. So that's a bit of info on that, Terence.
Thank you so much. It's like when you talk about starting business, venturing, looking at supply chain, look at it. So any business, you can't really move away from this thing called risk. It's like I want to put money inside, and like if I put money inside, will I lose it? It's like will I lose all my hard-earned savings? This conversation. How do I deal with this conversation and the fear of losing money or possibility of making money? Like what's a how, can you share with me more about this area?
Well, in my interaction with a lot of business people, when they run their own business, they would have the gut feel, and then they see what kind of risk that they can take. So whether they're risk averse or risk taker, and how much funds they're willing to put aside. If something happened, they are okay with it. They can have a good night's sleep. So these are the things that you need to have your gut feel as well. On top of all the things, due diligence you have done, you must have a feel whether it is worthwhile to go in. And the most important thing, whether it gives you meaningful results or not. That's the most important thing. So whether you are creating synergy within the business, and again, and lastly, whether you are adding value or not. So these are the things that can be a driving force into looking at it. If you come from risk, you may be paralyzed into not wanting to take even a step forward. So balancing between this calculated risk then give you some comfort to take the first step and the second step and third step. Of course, you're not lumping in everything in one go. I'm sure there are progress that you can see the milestone before you make the next decision, and we learn along the way too. So there's nothing complete and becomes okay on day one. I'm sure there are things they need to learn, relearn, unlearn, and also adding value as you go along. So that's a bit of take on the risk side, Terence.
Got it. Thank you. I have one last question for you that I feel is very important. It's like if we know what's happening, what's coming, uh, I'm willing to take the risk. But the challenge is this, all entrepreneurs and all business people go through this. It's like, what about one or two unforeseen circumstances that I thought I've seen everything and then suddenly something came out from the left wing and right wing that I don't see, and it throws me out of whack. How do you deal with that? Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, being an entrepreneur, like now, nobody expect COVID-19 going to happen. So it just happened. So between March 18 in Malaysia until now, how do you take this on? So if you can see, how do you take it on from 18th of March, managing your emotion, managing your team, building the business again, and going to resolution, and then to make the business more agile in the moment. So we can take it. It will not. We will not know when it happened, Terence. We will not know. So just taking COVID-19 as it happened, I think all of us have done well in getting us to a certain place where we will think and have the strategy to take the next step, whatever that may be. So I think as time goes by, we are able to absorb this uncertainty and just have plans to take the next step. So that's what I've got, Terence, because there's no real answer to what's best to do. COVID-19 is the best example. What we have gone through, we made it till now. And when it happened again, going through the cycle, I'm sure we can manage it. How to handle the business then.
Got it. It's just like when people say now we are wave one. If we move into wave two, most people business are a lot more prepared for it, right?
Yeah, but then there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear that we need to address. Now there's a lot of uncertainty. We're talking about new normal. Then again, we've talked in the previous sessions of 11th hour, what are the new realities as we approaching the weeks, the months coming into December and ending 2020, there are more reality that we are facing. So what will be our new normal? So there are some adjustments that we need to make. First, managing our fear, managing our mindset, and then managing our team, managing the business, and to see from both sides, first running the operation and also ensuring the demand is there for our business. So these are the things. And again, ultimately, cash flow is the most important thing that we are managing. So there's a lot of things that we need to look at. So putting one thing at a time, prioritizing, looking at it. So things will work out, not looking at it in one go. I don't think that works.
Thank you very much for sharing all these gems and jewels. Okay, for those that you can think that, okay, you don't understand my situation, you have all these questions, please type in all the situation and questions below so we can help you answer them. Or you can join us, Izam and I. We are running a 2-hour Master Business Builder program on 18th of July at 2:30 p.m. We are only looking for a small group of business leaders to join our small and intimate coaching session. So please click the link below to register. And this is just a time span. It was just a chit chat. Right? We are just doing this to help some SMEs and small timers to really break through or get them to see a bit of the future they can't see. We're helping you discover your new reality, dissect what works and what doesn't work in a business, and reinforce the business with 8 keys for it to survive, stabilize, and thrive during this time. And as well as we help you to increase your performance and pivot the business towards the right direction. This is what we want to do in the 2 hours spending with you guys. Anything else you want to add, Izam, before we end the call?
Well, when you go into investment, look at the prospect and then look at where you're heading in terms of adding value, and make sure that there's no emotion in it. So then there will struggle. Just make sure you have a clear mind when you make that decision. That's from me, Terence.
Thank you very much. Nice to see all of you today. Hope to see you on another 11 call, or see you Saturday on a 2-hour Master Builder program.